Well, hello, everybody, and welcome into another Thursday afternoon episode of Be Great. This is my weekly podcast where I talk to you every week about another way to get closer to your personal greatness, which I believe you have in you. I believe you have access to, and I want to help you get a little bit closer to it. My name is Andrew Burkham. I am the founder and CEO of the Idea Training Academy, and that is a coaching and consulting firm that is all about helping people get to their next level, whatever that level might be. And for you, I hope that next level is someplace amazing, someplace that you have been dreaming of for the longest time. We want to be a part of that solution. So every week we come in and we talk a little bit about, what's going on in my life, what I'm seeing in the coaching side of the practice, questions that you may have about what you're dealing with and what you're up against. And today, I have a presentation that I'm going to be making to a group of people later on this afternoon. And so I thought I would just take today and I would deliver that talk to you guys because it's something that even though this particular group of people, it's something I know they need to hear. It's something that all of us need to hear, and it's all about self-limiting beliefs and how we get past them. So let me just walk through this with you. I want to start by asking you a question. Have you ever had somebody that you worked with or somebody that you know, a friend of yours, and you could see the potential in them? You could see just how amazing they could be, but they were 100% blind to it. No matter how many times you told them, "Hey, you have so much farther to go." They couldn't see it. Like you could see that their ceiling was way up here, but for them, they were still looking at it like it was down here. Is that not the most frustrating thing in the world? That's a lot of what I deal with as a coach. But have you ever stopped to think about how hard it is for you to see the height of your own potential? See, it's a lot harder for us to see the things in ourselves that are great than it is for us to see those things in other people. And so the question is, how can we change that perspective? How can we go from a place where we don't really see our own greatness to where we do? A lot of you know I have an 11-year-old daughter. Her name is Serenity, and she is the light of my life. She is absolutely amazing. She just started middle school, so she is a sixth grader, and I'm dying inside because of it. But she is a bright spirit and so talented and so gifted in so many ways. And every day before she goes to school for, I don't know, the last 3 or 4 years, I have told her the exact same thing. I've looked at her and I've said, "Serenity, I love you. Be great today." And this year, she gives me that kind of eye roll that only middle school girls can give. I can't even do it, but that eye roll. And she goes, "Yeah, okay, Dad, I will." Right. The reason I tell Serenity to be great is not because I believe that somebody just telling you to be great is going to make you be great. I don't think that's a reality. I think it's important to have positive inputs into your life that do tell you that you have more places to go. But it's not that I think that telling her to be great is going to make her be great. It's that when I was growing up, nobody really told me that I could be great. Now, I don't want you to hear this wrong. I didn't grow up in an environment that was bad or negative or abusive in any way. I lived with both my parents. They were super loving, they were super supportive. They taught me all of the things that I needed to be successful, and they supported me every single step of the way. But I also grew up in a little rural town in northern Kansas, and I also grew up the kid of a pastor in a small town. And as a result, the kind of environment that surrounds that is an environment that says, "You know what? Don't don't brag. Don't get too bold. Don't think too highly of yourself. Just be humble. Just keep your head down. Just do your thing. Just do the good work. Be a good steward of what you have." But the problem is that I translated that in my head in a certain way, and nobody told me otherwise. I don't know. Is birth order psychology a thing that we still do? I don't know if we've debunked that or if it's something that we're still doing. But I am a firstborn, And I'm a firstborn child of two firstborns, as a matter of fact. So I'm a firstborn. And maybe as a result, or maybe just because of my personality, I grew up thinking that I had to do everything right. I had to be the smart one. I had to be super smart in school, and I had to be super good at the things that I did competitively. And I had to be, I just had to be good at all this stuff. And when I wasn't good at something, like I was at baseball, for example, I played baseball when I was a kid. I was terrible at baseball. And I would beat myself up so hard every time I ran into something that I wasn't good at. When I gave a wrong answer in school, I was embarrassed. And I took that into myself, and I made that a part of my identity. I made that failure into a part of my identity. And the result of that was, by the time I turned 40, I was kind of miserable. In fact, by about the time I was 40, 44, 45, I was in a place where I just didn't want to live my life anymore. Not that I was suicidal or anything like that, but I just wasn't happy in the life that I was in. And if you looked at me professionally, or if you looked at it from the outside, I was actually doing pretty well for myself. I was making decent money. I had had some success in my career, but I was super unhappy. And I think a big part of it is that I believed three things about myself that were not true. And those three things are the things that I want to talk to you about today. Now, I know that the six types of working genius is in the title, and maybe that's why some of you came, and I am going to get to that. That's going to come towards the end. But first, I want to walk you through how I got there. See, I have had in my life these three, what we call self-limiting beliefs. They're beliefs that keep my ceiling down here when other people have a tendency to see it as higher. And to demonstrate those beliefs to you, I'm going to use a metaphor that will tell you how old I am. Do you remember the game Pitfall? Pitfall, yes. This was, if you're on the Twitch side, you probably know what I'm talking about when I say Pitfall. Pitfall came out in 1982 for the Atari 2600 console, and yes, I am Pitfall years old. And Pitfall was this game. It came out around the same time as Raiders of the Lost Ark. So Indiana Jones was big. And you played this Indiana Jones kind of character, and you ran through the jungle and picked up all of the different treasures. There were silver bars and gold bars and, I don't know, money bags and things like that you would pick up. But like in all good video games, there were all of these obstacles that you had to overcome along the way. There were logs that would roll and through the jungle for I don't know what reason, and you would have to jump over them. And there were scorpions and snakes. And then the worst of them were the crocodiles. And there would be sometimes you would come to this pond, you'd come to this screen and it had this pond, and this pond had three crocodiles in it. And sometimes there was a vine that was swinging over the pond, and it was cool because you could just Tarzan your way past them. But later on in the game, there's no vine. And all you can do is you just have to jump really carefully from one crocodile to the next, on like jumping on their heads, being very careful not to get eaten. Because those crocodiles are what's between you and the final treasures in the game. And so I like to think of these three self-limiting beliefs that I picked up over the course of my lifespan as these three crocodiles. And I like to give them names. I'm going to name them for you. The first crocodile I like to call success is an accident. And even if you won't say this out loud, even if you won't say that you believe it, we all believe this deep down inside someplace. And the way it usually comes out is if you think about success you've had in the past, you're not really sure why you had that success. I have known people. Have you known these people? They have some kind of project that goes great, or they have some kind of big win, or maybe it's like, I don't know, something that just goes off the charts. And you go to them and you say, okay, you have to tell me, how did you do this? And their response is, I don't know. Or I don't know. I just got lucky. I got up on the right side of the bed that day. I was in the right place at the right time. And doesn't that make you mad? Don't you just want to go, hey, listen, I just need you to tell me. I just need to know what the secret is. Can you give me the secret so that I can follow it, so that I can be successful too? And they won't do it. And sometimes it's that they don't want to give their secrets up. But sometimes, a lot of times, in fact, it's that they don't know why they were successful. See, when we don't examine the reason that we get to the places we get when we're at high points in our lives, what we're really saying is, success is an accident. I'm just chancing into it. And that's the first crocodile. I became miserable because I thought I didn't have any ability to affect the success that I had at the end of the day. Second crocodile is a little bit sneakier. It's the one that kind of hides under the water and waits till you get closer and jumps up on you and then bites your legs off. And this is the crocodile that I like to call "I'm not cut out for this," or maybe it would be better to call him "I'm not a morning person." Are you not a morning person? How many not morning persons are there out there? I am not genetically a morning person. I get up early in the morning, but that's not necessarily my happy place. And so I wonder how many people you know or you work with who are not kind of persons. How many people you know who are not morning people? They're not, I'm not a leader. I can't speak in public. I'm not a public speaker. I'm not good at math, right? Maybe it's your kids. I'm not good at math. I'm not. Isn't it really interesting that all of the labels that we apply to ourselves usually say something about what we're not instead of what we are? And what that really is it's really us jumping into something and going, oh, well, I tried that and I couldn't do it. So I guess I'm just going to say that I'm not that thing, right? Oh, I tried to go to the gym every day and I didn't. And so I guess I'm not a gym person, right? And we take that moment and we call failure and we make that into an identity for ourselves. But have you ever stopped to think that maybe what you see as failure in the past was not so much a failure on your part as it was a mismatch between the type of work you were doing and the way that you were trying to approach it? So that's the second crocodile. The second crocodile is the I'm not crocodile, the I'm not a morning person crocodile, the I'm not cut out for this crocodile. And then the third crocodile is probably the most dangerous. And this crocodile is what I call the crocodile of the real world. It's the real world. And I talk about this thing that I call the myth of the real world. The myth of the real world says that only the things that are in my set of circumstances apply to me. In my coaching practice, I deal with this all the time. Yes, I know that person was successful doing the exact same thing I'm trying to do. I know there's a book that's written on this. I know there is advice. I know you're giving me advice out of your lived experience, but I'm different. I'm different. My circumstances are different. My limitations are different. The politics are different for me. The things, all of these things, everything about me is different. My world is the real world, and that world is unique. Do you know there's no such thing as a real world? Your world is made up of three things. It's made up of the environment around you. Yes. It's made up of the way that your senses interact with that world. And it's made up of the way that your brain interprets that sensory input. All of that is to say that your real world and my real world are two entirely different things. If you really want to blow your mind, check this out. How do you know that when you and I see blue, we're really seeing the same color? Now, we have the same word for the way that we interpret that set of wavelengths that comes into our eye and goes into our brain. But how do you know that when I see blue, I'm not seeing what you would call yellow if you were to see it the same way that I saw it? You can't. Because the real world is not just made up of your own individual perceptions. It's actually made up of the intersection of the perceptions of all of the people in the world. And that is why, without perspective from more people than yourself, you will have a hard time succeeding at anything. If you are trying to do it on your own, you will probably fail at some point. We need other people. But the myth of the real world crocodile tells us that we don't. So those are the three crocodiles. So how do we get over those? Well, as I told you earlier, I'm going to explain to you a little tool that I don't call it, I didn't make it up. It's called the Six Types of Working Genius. It was invented by Patrick Lencioni and his team that's called the Table Group. They've been consulting for many, many, many years. And they invented this tool. And what this tool does, it's not a personality tool. It doesn't tell you about your Enneagram or your spider web or whatever all of those things are. What it tells you about is how you naturally approach work, the types of work, and everything is work. Relationships are work, right? Going to the gym is work. Everything is work. So it tells you your approach to work naturally, and it tells you the types of work that bring you energy and joy, and the types of work that don't bring you energy and joy or that drain that away from you. Because we know that people and teams, in the larger sense, they function better, more efficiently, and more productively, and have greater success when they're functioning in areas that bring them energy and joy. Not to say that you're not going to have to do things you don't love every once in a while. Of course, everybody's going to have to do stuff they don't love every once in a while. But when you have an awareness of what you do love and of what really is frustrating you, then it helps you create structures to spend most of your time approaching things from a direction that brings you energy and joy, and not the other way around. And I believe this helps you jump over those three crocodiles. But let me explain to you the way that the system works first. There are 6 types of working genius. Each of these corresponds to a type of work. The first is the genius of wonder. People with the genius of wonder love to ask the big questions, because wonder is all about figuring out what the problem is. So they ask the question behind the question. They like to see everything from the biggest possible view. That's the genius of wonder. And if you have that genius of wonder, you have an amazing skill to see through everything. It's kind of like Neo seeing the Matrix. Like, you have the ability to see all of the things that are behind the things. And that leads us to the genius of invention. Invention says, okay, I've been told what the problem is. Now I'm going to come up with solutions for it. So invention is, and that's your outside the box thinker. It's the person who comes up with 100 solutions. It's all about solutions, in fact. It says, okay, you're going to tell me the problem. Here is a bunch of different solutions to that. Here are all of the possible things. It's kind of like Doctor Strange in the Avengers when he said, I looked at all of the possible dimensions, all the possible futures, and there was only one that in which we were able to prevail. And don't get me wrong, people with invention can't always see the one that's right, but they can see all those possible futures, all those multiple dimensions. And then you come to the genius of discernment. And the genius of discernment, it really is about narrowing it down. The genius of discernment is about evaluating and analyzing and using their gut and using their instinct and their recognition of patterns to say, this plan is the one that is the one that's going to work. And that one over there is not the one that's going to work. So it's about making sure that the plan that we follow, the solution that we follow, is going to be the one that actually will work for us in the end. The genius of galvanizing then jumps up on the table. So this is the person who is the cheerleader, who is the rallying cry. They're the ones they're gonna get up and they're gonna say, all right, everybody, we know what we've got to do. Now let's go and do it. And, get everybody charged up and get them ready to go. And if you know a galvanizer in your life, then you probably want that person around when you're not feeling very motivated. Because that's the person who's going to get you riled up and get you pointed. They're the person that's going to come into the office and everybody's laptops are open and they're going to go, okay, shut your laptops. We need to talk about what's important right now. That's a galvanizer. And the enabler, which is next, the genius of enablement, responds to the galvanizer. And they go, okay, great. I'm ready to go. What should I do? How can I help? How can I jump in? Because enablement is about helping. It's about coming alongside. It's about lending a hand. It's about getting the work started. If you have people who are like, yeah, we've talked enough, let's get started. A lot of times those are your enablers. They're going to raise their hand. They're going to volunteer. They're going to get the ball rolling. But when you want to get things finished, you want to go to somebody with the genius of tenacity. Because the genius of tenacity is all about getting things over the finish line. It's all about getting them done, about checking them off. If you want something checked off of your list, you want somebody who has the genius of tenacity, because that's what the genius of tenacity loves to do. So those are the 6 types of working genius. And we all have 2 of those that we really love, that really energize us. And we all have 2 that really frustrate us and really drain our joy from us. But okay, Andrew, how does all of that help us overcome these crocodiles that you have made up? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm going to tell you. So we use the 6 types of working genius to overcome the first crocodile that says success is an accident. Because when we understand the way that we're naturally designed to approach work, it's much easier for us to go back into our memory files and see the work that we've done and see the way it attaches to that nature. And so when we go to create future solutions, instead of going, I'm going to jump into this and hope it's the right thing, we will know that it's the right thing. And if it's not the right thing, we'll know how to determine that early on and shift. We overcome the second crocodile, which says, I'm not cut out for this, by understanding that what we called failure in the past is not necessarily connected to our inability to do things. It may be connected to our trying to approach work in the way that we're not meant to approach work, and not seeking help when the work that needs to be done is in an area that creates a lot of friction for us. Instead, we just make that failure an identity. But if we make our geniuses the identity, then we're really able to move past that crocodile. We get over the second crocodile. And it helps us beat the myth of the real world, because when we know not just our geniuses, but the geniuses of the people who are around us, the people who are on our team or in our family or in our lives, those people who surround us, when we can see their geniuses and how they interact with us and how our frustrations overlap, what we know is we know that the full picture of the world is such that we can help each other in the areas that are difficult for us. Our world doesn't have to be a narrow world of, I'm only good at these and I'm not good at those. It can be a world of, I'm great at these, I'm not so great at those, but I know how to get those done because I have people in my life that I can go to for that help. So that's how the 6 types of working genius can help us overcome the 3 crocodiles that are self-limiting beliefs in our life. So that's a lot of what I talk about in my coaching practice. Those are some of the things that I go over with the people that I work with. I hope that's a little bit useful to you. I know that many of you are in helping professions, and there are actually studies that tell us that the people who are in helping professions are some of the worst about being able to explain why what they do works. So I hope that if anything else out of today, you've gotten a little bit of motivation to go back and kind of look at your past and to try and line that up with where your energy is, where your joy is, and where your frustrations are, and have a little bit better understanding that your past can be a roadmap to a better future for you. And so just like I always tell my daughter, Serenity, every day, I want you to wake up. I want you to look yourself in the mirror. I want you to tell yourself to be great, because your greatness is on the other side of those crocodiles. Now, you may have other crocodiles. There may be other self-limiting beliefs that you have in your life, but you can apply the same principles to each and every one of them. If you have an awareness of yourself and the things that you were designed to do, and then you start to put things in place to work on those things and not the things that you're not as good at, and help to build structures and partnerships around those areas where maybe you're not so good, you're going to get farther than you ever thought you could. So start today. Take a look at yourself. Try and find your areas of joy. Try and find your areas that energize you. And do one thing today. Starting today, do one thing. No matter how small, do one thing that lets you work in that area for at least like 20 minutes today. And then you can report back to me and let me know how that goes. So thank you guys so much for being with me today. That is kind of all I've got for you. I wanted to give that to you. That's a little bit of the talk that I'm going to be giving a little bit later today to the group that I'm going to be working with. But I see you out there. Hi, Head of Steel. Hi, Kitty Cat. I wasn't ignoring you. I just wanted to get a time on that. I kind of said that at the top. Drizzy, thank you so much for subscribing. 11 months. Happy 11 months to you. To anybody who might be watching the replay over on YouTube or on Facebook, thank you guys for hanging out with me as well today. I super appreciate you here. I'm here every Thursday from 1:30 typically to 2:30. I'm going to go a little short today. These talks help a lot. Thank you, good sir. You're so welcome, Drizzy. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you, my friend. Yeah. So I'm going to cut it short today, but I will be back next Thursday, and I will look forward to helping you with more ways that you can break past the crocodiles that are trying to eat you in your life and get to the treasure that's on the other side. Until then, my friends, stay well, and above all else, be great.
I've been caught in the whispers, lost in my doubts, tangled in stories I can't live without. But there's a fire, it's burning inside, calling me forward, I can't run and hide. It's not about perfection, it's about the climb, breaking through the limits, one step at a time. With every breath, I'm closer to the dream, a life that's bold, a heart that gleams. Be great, stand tall, rise above it all. Let your light shine through, answer the call. There's power in you, don't hesitate. This is your moment, go on, be great. The mirror's reflection, it shows who I am, but it's just the beginning, not the end of the plan. Through trials and heartache, I've learned how to fight, to shape my tomorrow. I start with tonight. It's not about the shadows, it's about the flame, fueling the courage to rewrite the game. Every step forward, I leave fear behind. Greatness is waiting, it's yours and it's mine. Be great, stand tall, rise above it all. Let your light shine through, answer the call. There's power in you, don't hesitate. This is your moment, go on, be great. Through the storms and the pain, I'm finding my way again. With purpose, with heart, I'll never fall apart. It's the journey, not just the end, a story that begins again. I'll build it, I'll create a life that resonates. Be great. Be great, stand tall, rise above it all. Let your light shine through, answer the call. There's power in you, don't hesitate. This is your moment, go on, be great. This is your story, it's time to ignite a life of intention, a future so bright. The world is waiting, don't let